Hello, I'm Richard Dreyfuss's character from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and guess what, folks? Today I took off my gas mask and the air is fine. So I came to the conclusion that there's something here they don't want us to see. Thank you, that was my Richard Dreyfuss impression. I wasn't going to do a video this quickly after doing one, but I think as the screws get tightened more and more, and people who are looking at the calendar and saying, okay, that's 9 days before I have to curtsy before the government and put on my pretty little mask and say, may I have my bread, please, sir? I'm a citizen of the WHO. I'm a borderless fairy that circles between worlds and obeys any old rule that's thrown my way. 9 days away. And as the screws get tightened, I think people like me are going to go, I just, I wake up in the morning and I go, that's something I didn't have to calculate in, and, they say on the tube there's excuses that you can say it causes me distress. But I don't even want to do that. I don't want to do a song and dance because I think these are unhealthy things. And I have to tell you about I don't have to tell you about it. May I please tell you about what happened today? I went out to the shops. And I find that it's getting worse and worse, and as far as somebody who still has a heart and a head and a soul, if you're dead to the world, I imagine today's probably a great time to be alive if you're dead to the world. Maybe in a different time period, maybe World War II, maybe not so much. That wasn't, people who were dead to the world, we needed fighters and people with some kind of passion. But, I'll tell you what happened. Because I literally just got back and I just wished I can't do this anymore. I can't see people in masks, and I'm not walking around thinking sheeple, brainwashed. It's not that. I'm thinking, for the love of mankind, take that off. Somebody's lied to you. Somebody's putting a lie in your head. Old people, 80 years old, nose and mouth on a humid day, and they're doing it outside, and it's because the message now is like, isn't it time? Isn't it wonderful? About time. I only wished we'd got this advice earlier. Why did you want the advice earlier? Because if they didn't know earlier, how could you want something that even the people you worship in the WHO didn't know that they wanted? What do you mean you wanted it all this time? Because masks are really upheld and wonderful now. Like, old people are going out there in places where they don't need to wear them. All over the nose and the mouth covered on a humid day. And I'm looking at this and I just keep thinking that, people say, did they want to cull the elderly with this brainwashing exercise? Anyway, so let me take you to today. So today, today I had to get my groceries, and soon I'll have to get a lot of groceries. I'm not doing this. I'm not fucking doing this. I will not curtsy before a lie. Please, sir, may I have my scrap of bread? I'm a good citizen. I'm not spreading my dirty old breath around the world. God, what an insult too. What a fucking insult to the human race. We're all dirty. And yet these pigs have no interest in the Bible. Right, the idea of original sin, that would be okay, but they do believe in the inherent dirtiness of the body. Isn't it funny? These are the people Lenny Bruce would have ridiculed, right? The toilet itself is not dirty, but deconstructing what it is, what makes something dirty and something else. You were saying that our bodies are inherently dirty. God, I think of so many poets that would totally contradict that. Milton, Blake, on down the line. The human form divine. So I can't do a long one today because I'm very strict with my schedule on the Paradise Lost project. Book 7 is where I'm at, and as I mentioned yesterday, it is going to be free. It's this to the world, right? I'm giving 2 fingers to the state of leadership in the world today. Fuck you, leaders in education, leaders in science, anything. People who are making very salaried positions and don't know what the fuck to do. Fuck you, Paradise Lost. We're getting back to the heart, soul, poetry, and it's anyway. So I'm very strict with my schedule on that. So usually at 2 p.m. So from 2 to 9, that's a 7-hour shift. I stop for dinner for a couple hours and then do another 2-3 hours every day. And I just got to the point in book 7 where I'm dealing with creation. God's creation. Now I'm not, I'm not a creationist, although these days I don't know what to fucking believe, but well, that's a totally different conversation. But I do believe God created this universe. I do believe divine intelligence. The Big Bang. Well, the Big Bang was God. It was some divine intelligence that trickles down even to this day when that pigeon lays that egg, that knows instinctively that's what to do, and nature on its own grows. For nature here wantoned as in her prime, said Milton of Eden. Anyway, my back on my birthday, my mother sent me a birthday card. She gave me $100, which was nice of her. And it's funny, she's always saying, how do you send a card? I want to send a card to you. I've always wanted to do that. Now, but is it hard to send a card? How do you do that? Do you have zip codes? What is a postcode? And what do you mean flat? Is where you live flat? No, it's cute, right? And then anyway, she sent me $100, and I've had it sitting here for forever because I've not been to the bank in, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, because the queues are longer than the grocery store queues. So I don't have online banking, because 3 years ago Barclays thought that they told me you have to get essentially you have to get a new iPhone, you have to update some shit in order to keep using our online banking. So I said, fuck you, I'm not going to have online banking. So now what I do is I try to remember what I've got in the account from day to day, and I always use cash. I've always been that way. I always use cash, because machines I know we love the machines, and they're beautiful and shiny and wonderful, and they've saved our world, and they're going to help our educational system, and they're going to build new homes, and they're so fucking wonderful. The machine, I know they're beautiful and you love them, but they do fail, don't they? They fail, and then isn't it funny when a machine fails? What's the first thing you want to look for? Another machine? No, you want a human. Do you know how to do this? Right? You look for a fucking human, because we need humans. Machines are actually I know I'm old school. I'm using a machine right now, I know, but enough. That's it. Because that's what happened. That's what happened today. And I know people that had seen what happened at the bank, onlookers might have said, oh, he's having a meltdown. They might have thought, the guy's having a meltdown. I don't know. What happened was this. I've been putting that off forever because of the queue, because as every day goes on, I want to leave the house less and less. I don't want to see 80-year-old people with face covering, honestly, like that, like a big clam shell over their fucking face. I don't want to see that on a hot, humid day. It makes me queasy. So today I got up, I said, okay, it's not 2 p.m. yet. Go get your groceries and try to deposit that check, because you're going to fucking need it. I mean, things are, and thank you we have 2 new patrons, and I'm going to thank you by the end of this video, but I got 2 new patrons yesterday, and I really, really appreciate that. Will and Sarah. So isn't it funny, because I used to be both of those. For those of you who know my career, I spent 7 months dressed as a woman, so the BBC could go, do you have any ideas? Sarah and Will, thank you for your recent patronage. If you do want to become a patron, please go to patreon.com/Will Franken. And one of the things that you can see are all of the clips that were banned by Comedy Unleashed. Some very diligent fans actually downloaded those and said, I understand what they did. Would you like your own work? And I said, that'd be great. And so I appreciate that. And I made those available to the patrons. So that's one of the many things in a 3-year archive that you will get access to. Anyway, so I took that check down there. Now, I don't know about cashing, she's never sent me a check, so I didn't know about cashing a check in the UK. Like, how do you do it? Does it work the same as like if you do a gig in Europe and whatever? I wasn't used to it. Like, what do you do with an American check out here? So the first thing I want is a human. I want the human being. I don't want to go online and I want to walk down to a bank, get in the bank, and say to him, hi, I have a check from America. Do you know how this works? Do I have to fill in anything? I want to talk to a human. So I go down to this. So what's happening first of all is sometimes in preparation for my Milton work for the day, I'll put on some of what I've already done as I'm walking, and I just hear Milton's words. How's the project going so far? And so today I put on the headphones, and it's about a 25-minute walk to the bank. And I started from the beginning. I put on book one, what I've done so far in book one, which is all, it begins in hell. It begins after Satan's fallen, and all this sneaky, like, what are we going to do now? Do we wage war? Do we do trickery? What are we going to do? But I'll tell you one thing we're not going to do. We're not going to practice any good. Right? Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. That's when all the secrecy, and then he galvanizes all his satanic legions, and that's the plan. Is let's build pandemonium down here and debate how we're going to fight God. A second round, a second spike, second wave. So I put that on the headphones. I leave the house. And I notice was it Clockwork Orange? All of a sudden I came over very ill. I was about 15 minutes into the walk. And lots of people were out today. And there were little children wearing masks and old people wearing masks, as I say. Everybody's masked up on a humid day. And I found that as Satan's words were going in my ears, I was getting queasy. And I realized, I think I'm in hell. I mean, it felt like a bad acid trip. It was starting, so I had to turn it off. It felt like, I've heard that a million times now. I love what I've done so far. It's hell. I captured hell, I believe, and with what limited means I could. I captured the sound of hell, but today I just couldn't. I had to turn it off. I was like, this is too much. I see every lie that's going in my ear that Milton wrote down in the 17th century based on what happened according to him from time immemorial. And I'm looking at the present day, oh my God, they're going to kill us. So I got to the bank, got in the queue, waited in the queue for quite some time, and there's a guy there at the door, and his job is to tell you it is safe. One go out, one come in. Safety. The safety man is there to say safe, and I try not to look at the safety man because I don't want to acknowledge the necessity for the safety man. I just go in like I'm. This is still in my mind a bank. And you kind of have to pretend after a while, but I'm not going to go, hi, I needed your permission to come in here. I find that very difficult. Thank you for permission to enter a building. I find that very hard. I find that in New York one time, that's a separate story, but they had the bouncers with the velvet rope clubs, and there was no rhyme or reason. It was like, you, right? Because after a gig one night, some friends took me down to one. And I said, I got in trouble as soon as I got there because I said, I don't agree with this. Why does somebody put you for what, the velvet rope to come up? So I don't want to acknowledge that, he might be great. Well, I ended up interacting with them. And this is what happened. As soon as I got into the bank, I haven't been for 4 months. And the first thing I do is I bypass all the machines to go to the till windows. And there's nobody there. And I know what's coming. We know this now because we've been trained. We've been trained that very soon you'll hear a voice, and they'll say, "Sir, would you?" Sorry, it's the machines that will hear that voice saying, "Oh, that's right, duh." And today I some people would say melt. I mean, I'm like this. I'm talking. And you gotta understand, in England, being this sometimes, which is not shouting, but is a lot of like this. It looks really mad, I know, for certain English people because there's a lot of, right, like, lost one there. I don't know, he flew in from Kansas or something. You're like, you wonder because I guess because you don't see it a lot. That's, so I'm not, the thing is, I've seen people come with English accent. You fucking cunts. I mean, they do erupt. But this sort of like, what happened was when he said that, I felt like I had just spent 20 minutes in hell watching 80-year-olds thinking because they're 80 years old and they would, they grew up in a time where I guess they never would have expected a government to be this outwardly psychotic. So I guess, or I guess they just kind of resolved within themselves that it's too late to question certain things like the guy. And so they're actually believing this, and they're walking and so I show up to the bank. So I've got all that in my head. At this point, I think we're living in hell with this. And actually, right before I went in the bank, another thing I saw was outside the bank. waiting to go into another institution, was a mother and her daughter who was probably around 9 years old. Now, the mother was not wearing a mask, but the daughter was. And I had a feeling, my feeling is that kids, like, I can imagine a situation where it's like, Clarice has a face mask. Maybe the mother doesn't believe in it, but the girl wants to have a mask like her friend does, and it becomes like a trendy thing. And this is why those fashion designers who are designing these fucking things, these companies that have kind of gotten on board and, did a little side work and moonlighting making masks, this is why they're complicit in something really horrible. They're making the goddamn thing trendy as well. Because children, the girl is outside. Children are supposed to breathe natural air. Again, that's something they taught me in my old stupid country school that wasn't Eton or Oxford. I mean, a long time ago I learned that. You have to breathe natural air outside, especially on a humid day. You can't cover your mouth up on a humid day. And I thought my hunch is, and I don't know these people, I could be totally wrong, but my hunch is, I've seen this a lot. I've seen teenage boys with their mothers, and the mother's wearing a mask, but he's not, vice versa. I've seen families where the dad's wearing a mask, but the kids aren't. Like, nothing makes any sense. But now the government is, so we need some clarity on this issue. So on the 24th of July, all of a sudden, we're going to need masks. So the guy said, you can't imagine, 4 or 5 months I've not been to the bank. I feel like we're going through hell. I finally am allowed permission to go in by the safety man, who's also the machine man. The machine man and the safety man, as you'll find out, are one and the same. I bypass the machines, my heart sinks. It's like, and as soon as the guy says that, I turn around and I say, everything's a fucking machine now. And I couldn't believe what fell out of my mouth. I agree with, obviously I agree with what I said because I said it, but I felt like I snapped. Well, I did snap. But I think it's justified. I think in a sane world it would be justified. It's like, you realize what we're living through. And now they're telling us we have to wear masks. And there's no end for this. And by the way, this is not a new thing. And the machines have been here forever. So it's like, this is a brand new thing. And they've been weeding you people out. They've been weeding humans out of this forever. I want to go up and say, oh, did you have a good day today? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I didn't see the match. Yeah, as bland as that could be, give us that. Give us the small talk. You like the weather. It's a bit humid today. I was going to ask you something. Do you know how this works with an American check? Right? I want that. I don't want somebody like a car showroom dealer. That's what they are. That 5 machines. Would you like to try out one of our beautiful 5 machines? And that's why I said it. I turned around and said, everything's a fucking machine nowadays. And then immediately I did this, if you've not seen the film After Hours, which I think is one of Scorsese's greatest and sadly too often unknown works, from 1985, I believe, with Griffin Dunn, another very overlooked actor. After Hours. You want to have a good laugh tonight? Watch After Hours. And there's a scene where this guy is trying to get home. He's trying to get home. He's lost all his money. Everything goes mad for him this night. It's just a crazy New He is unable to get home. And by the end of by 4 or 5 in the morning, he's just so cracked up. And this woman allows him to come in. Catherine O'Hara says, come in, you can use my phone to call your friend. Because this before, another thing is, you used to have really good comedies like this before cell phones. Now you can't have a show like that. It's like, just get on your app, right? But this guy, he doesn't have a phone. He doesn't have any money to use the phone. And he gets into her flat, and she says, and she's trying to make him laugh as he's dialing the number, because he's like, yeah, I need the number for Peter Potzik, and he gets a 5, and she barked 7, 9. She goes, I've forgotten the number. If you haven't seen the scene, you should look at it. And she says, I was just trying to entertain you. And he goes, I don't want any entertainment, and I'm sorry I did that. And that's what I did today. I said, everything's a fucking machine nowadays. And I'm sorry I said that, but you have to understand, like, I don't know what we're going through. And then I start going off on that cascade. It's like, I'm a human, and I think the world needs humanity now. And then I kept trying, and I said, look, I know it's not your fault. I know you're working and all that, but I can't take the machines now. Everything's an app and a machine and a computer and a this. And then he said, I don't know where he was coming from, but I kept reiterating, like, I know this is not your fault, but I'm just having one of those days, because I'm And then he brought up the mask. He says, well, yeah, it's gonna get even stranger too with the mouse next week. And I said, I know. And I said, and I can't wear one because it would just go against everything I've ever thought about freedom. I'm not going to do a curtsy. I didn't go into all the details, but I just kept saying vague terms like, like I can't wear a mask, and that's got me. I'm a little worked up about that. We were told yesterday to wear the mask, and I kept reiterating my apologies to him, like, and he says, no, that's fine. But inside, I felt like I got to hurry up and get my groceries and get the fuck back here because I can't take it. I know this is wrong. It is so wrong to see little children and old people on a hot, humid summer's day outside, not even in a closed space because this thing has been made so trendy and cool. Of all the other things, and again, it's just you look at the world and you say, folks, we are better than this. If I didn't think we were better than this, I wouldn't crack up. So that's what happened, and I don't know. Was it even worth it to tell the story? I want to do a bit for you. Can I do a bit? Thank you again to Sarah and Will, our latest patrons. And every Sunday, if you don't know, every Sunday I give the patrons a special gift for their eyes and for their ears only. And you also get everything. If you join now, you do get everything that I've been doing so far in Paradise Lost. So you get pretty soon you'll have all 7. You'll have 7 books out of the 12. That's today. I'm going to continue on with the creation of the fowl. And we've got that beautiful. I hope he doesn't hatch too early because, see, that pigeon being born to me will represent such an act of unpremeditated defiance to these monstrosities that are being perpetuated on the human race. I believe because I'm not a citizen of the WHO. Hi. Did you think you were a free Westerner? Sorry, you weren't let in on the joke. Actually, we own a good portion of you. Put the mask on. I want to share something that somebody, because this, last night, the thing is, I'm having so many ideas. I've been, I wouldn't say comedically dormant for a couple weeks, but it's been Milton. And last night, somebody sent me an email, and I start thinking about bits. And I said yesterday, like, the comedy's for when we take care of this stuff. Once we defy the face mask rule and get some control over our faces, then we should make sure we have good comedy and good art to make sure that never fucking happens again. And the government knows we're not all a bunch of world music fans that put or techno and digitized. Hey, hashtag. They should know that there's still people out here who know what a fucking electric guitar sounds like. Mark, not that I can play one. So Mark, I never reveal surnames, especially in this age of. We are looking at everybody in order to stop the spread. If we do not act now, we cannot curb the spread of people. People are a plague on our land. So we must stop right now the R rate for people is very, very high. For example, if a boy and a girl meet, fall in love, they could have a baby, this will increase the spread of people. We must do all we can to stop the spread of the peoples. Yes, this is sound advice from the sound scientist. Now, where are we on the children hormone blockers bill? Good. I'm glad to see that ram through while everybody else has their head up their arse or covered with the big face cloth. Fucking hell, man. We are people of the human soul. Arrgh. So this guy Mark sent me a link. What did he say in the email? So I want to... he says, we're listening to your latest video, so thank you to you guys for watching this latest video, which was Masked yesterday. He says, you've probably seen this. If not, you'll especially like the Great Reset and global governance. So he sends me this link. So this is about 4 a.m. last night. I was working on Milton all this. I said, I don't want to take the headphones off because right now I'm hearing 17th century poetry, in, of course, in my voice. I've got, he's talking about nature. We've got to the point where God has created nature, and that's, I want to be there. So this is just, and it's a link to this World Economic Forum COVID action platform. Now I haven't even got globalists. Anyway, so bits were coming to me, comedy bits last night. And so I couldn't sleep because I was walking around the house at 4 in the morning, chain smoking, going, this. And I almost wanted to do a video last night if the lighting was. So let's see if I can remember the bits. One of the bits was, okay, so they start off and say that the dramatic spread of this is who is this? The World Economic Forum. The dramatic spread of COVID-19 has disrupted lives, livelihoods, communities, and businesses worldwide. All stakeholders, are you a stakeholder? Who is this for? Especially global business must urgently come together to minimize its impact on public health. Minimize global business's impact on public health? Isn't it funny? You can read things. You can read things one of two ways. Especially global business must urgently come together to minimize its impact. What, COVID-19's impact or global business's impact on public health? I think now we might dig into the truth of something. What has been the impact on public health by global business? And limit its potential. But the sum of many individual actions will not add up to a sufficient response. There is room of an ancient creature called the individual. They must be stopped. Maybe if I put it on a different voice, maybe these words will make sense. Let's do an American businessman. But the sum of many individual actions will not add up to a sufficient response. Only coordinated action by business, combined with global multi-stakeholder cooperation at exceptional scale and speed, can potentially mitigate the risk and impact of this unprecedented crisis. Really? So let me see if I can scroll through this. And actually, I'm going to pause this. I want to make sure that I come back and I know what the bit is, if I can remember it. I don't think it was any one particular bit. I think what I did was I looked at the language in there. There was something in the beginning about global businesses worldwide. Only coordinated action by businesses combined with global multi-stakeholder cooperation at exceptional scale and speed can potentially mitigate the risk. It's this idea of we're all in this together is a fucking lie, isn't it? Because they're not. Can you imagine them talking to the three ladies that once ran the calf down the road? And they said, "You're a business, we're a business, and like all businesses, you and I are especially concerned about the impact of this terrible invisible killer across the land. Now, unfortunately, because you're a very, very, very small business, we are in a position much more advantageous to care about COVID a little more. Not saying that you don't care yourself about stopping the spread of the disease, but right now numbers is a very big issue. And I think with us, it is quite clearly we are equipped with multinational stakeholders to care just that extra bit about COVID-19. What you can do to help is continue to keep your doors shut or to implement the social distancing policies which have been heavily recommended, in which case you would need to purchase some social distancing equipment from one of our global international machine-making organizations, because it's all fair play." I think that was, I hope I did that right. It's just the idea of like, what, all businesses? This is not, I've never been, there were so many things I've never been, fucking hell. But I will not be forced into this new weird lifestyle. But it didn't. I wanted to get home after the bank thing. I wanted to go home, and I can't be out. I can't be out right now until things get normal. I can't do this. And can you imagine some people saying like, "What kind of fighter are you?" So you're not fighting. I think that's the only way to really resist. Right? It's getting to the point where if you don't have a mind and a soul, equip yourself with that. But as far as interacting in this world, that was it. Of all the insults, it was like, this has been a continuous insult for years to the human race. Would you like to use a machine? That's an insult to humanity, and it's been going on for years and years and years now. And I've cracked before. I've said that. I always say barbed, sarcastic things about the machine all the time. One time I went into ASDA. My girlfriend loved this. I went in and I just started talking to the machine. Hi, not too bad. I'd stood there and talked to the machine, hoping that other people would hear and say, yeah, what are we doing? They laughed, But I never did comedy because I thought, I like to make people laugh. But then over the years, once I discovered satire, once I got turned on to Swift, I was like, that's it. You can use it to change things, And to this day, that's why I did things like that. It was 4 weeks ago, before they put the plexiglass phone booth things in there now. I mean, that makes me claustrophobic. Now I'm into plexiglass. Why? You want to live in a plastic bubble? This is the earth, man. A plastic bubble. That plastic bubble existence. Oh my God, it's almost time to cook lunch. I'll cook my mushy peas. Tin food. So I turn around and go to I got to go to Asda. Now I got to get my groceries. Did you like that? I think it was funny. Do that. You know what? You can have that joke. If you're using a machine somewhere, do that. Hi, how's Betty and the kids? Talk to the machine like a human and see how. Is it not time to do that yet? Because I think aren't we going that way anyway? I'm just ahead of the game, aren't I? AI. Don't you have the Dominic Cummings T-shirt? So I go up to the escalator to Asda. Now, I've mentioned this before. Asda has this weird, you go up, once upon a time, you could get off the escalator and go in the shop, right? But then, what you do is you go up, it's a one-way system, you got to go out through the car park, come back in around, get the man's blessing, get the vicar's blessing. You've been blessed to enter the shop and purchase your bread. And I go in, and there's people dicking around the hand sanitizer. Donnie, want some hand sanitizer? This is nice. Do they sell this hand? Lovely. Do you know there's a hand sanitizer from Calais? Oh, lovely. Bon vivant. Oh, lovely. Ooh, sparkles too. Where did you get your mask? I said, where did you get your mask? I said, where did you get your mask? They're just dicking around by the hand sanitizer. So again, I did what I did before. Just barrel past me. Folks, it's this easy. It's this easy to enter a shop. Now, once I got in, I just still shaken from the whole bank experience. I told the guy at the bank, I don't feel like I'm crazy. I just feel like our world has gone. I'm trying to, as quick, and I don't know if he's doing the, it's okay, Sam, it's okay. We'll take this check to the back right now, and we'll return with a hypodermic needle. I was thinking, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to try to drive us mad. I went to the BBC last night after I made that video, and one of the headlines on the BBC was why staff don't have to wear masks, but customers do. And I thought, I can't read this anymore because I will lose my mind, because that's even more bullshit. That's ever more bullshit. We're all in a confined space. None of this makes any, and we know this because we're human beings and we have a soul. We have a soul and a heart. And whether or not you believe in God, I do, you may not, but if something deeper is all that I ask, something deeper than the superficial, glossy bullshit that we are being told that is negating the human condition. I fucking refuse it with every fiber of my being. So I go into Asda, barrel past the people. Folks, we're free. I have come to bring you freedom. Not Jesus. No, nobody's Jesus, but follow the example. Like, you are free from these outward shows. I love how Jesus took on the Pharisees. You don't need all the costumery and all this. Just right. We're free. Liberation. That's what Blake saw him. It's a liberation, the liberation of the human soul. We're free individuals. You take that to its extreme, that's what you get. Right? We are free. We are the God. We are the God we seek within us. Made in the image of the divine. We're free. I've come to set you free. That's what I feel like. I walk in, I go, it's this easy. There's a thing called freedom, and you don't need these outward hand sanitizer, outward shows of respect and deference to Belial, Mammon, all the devils that Milton talks about, Mammon of money, Belial of deceit, these bow down to the technological, scientific, celebrity, and political lie. Right? The outward shows of respect and deference. So I go in and I've got my basket. And then all of a sudden I realized I forgot to go to with all the bank stuff, I forgot to take money out to get my groceries. So I thought I got to go around and use the ATM. But so I got to go through the checkout point, come back around. to the ATM, which is on the other side of the escalator, which would mean I'd have to go back out and do the whole thing again where I walk past the hand sanitizer people. Unless, and I didn't want to fucking do this, unless I talked to the person who's the guy there to say, you have the blessing to go in. And I did that, and I felt ashamed about that. But I didn't want to go through the fucking loop-de-loop thing again. So I said, I was in the store already. I just had to go to the cash boy, because I always use cash, right? And I think that's important. Use cash. I do believe this. Everything's been digitized and this and that. You know what? They could pull the fucking switch on that at any moment. That's a lot of faith. And you know, if you're a person of faith, you know, and I'm not saying you have to be, but I'm saying, again, if you believe in something deeper, if you're a person of faith, you wouldn't put it in computers, because they can shut down at any fucking time. Computers and banking systems and online currency that is beyond your control. That if things go tits up and these pigs keep promising luxury homes and 500 billion for this and 200 billion for that, and it's not Britain's money, do you think whoever's money it is going to say, it's okay, we all went through a difficult time. Chalk up your losses. Donna, open your cafe again. It's all okay. Bullshit. So I go back to the thing, and I tell the guy, I said, look, I was in the shop already. I forgot that I needed my cash, because I don't use cards. I don't know how many words they want. You know, I don't know. I feel like there's a case to be made, like, that requires more than a few words. Like, but it's like, I needed cash because I don't like to use my card, and I didn't want to do the thing again, the loop thing. But I was already in the shop, and he said, oh, where did you leave your groceries? I said, no, I haven't got my groceries yet. I came in and realized, but I didn't want to go back to do the thing. And this is, here we go. I can't, I'm going to crack up. I honestly, I got to get in. And then finally he understood what I was saying. I was like, and just to even ask was like, because there was no way back in the fucking thing unless he took the velvet rope and let me come into the nightclub, the fancy Hollywood nightclub of Asda. Hey, what's happening here? Somebody buying some pasta? Where's the cocaine? Aisle 12? Oh, you know, velvet rope of Asda. And got in and just, I don't. It's like that, you know, maybe tomorrow I'll be doing. I actually got some sleep last night. I think I was all this accumulation of loss of sleep finally caught up to me. But that's been my day so far. Thank you to everyone. Was there anything I left out? I hope that bit was okay. The World Economic Forum, global businesses. Basically it was just me reading it and getting the language. There's something on here called. Well, there's this Great Reset thing, which I've heard about it, but I haven't read it. And then some epi-brain. Anytime a global corporation uses brain, that means run away, right? Epidemic Big Data Resource and Analytics Innovation Network, epi-brain. And there's a cute little picture of a brain there. You know, they know about the actual gray matter in the organism in the head, but you know, the thoughts and images of beauty that once sparked it to action and creativity, they are not experts in. This says, outbreaks are inevitable. However, in the fourth industrial, so what do you mean outbreaks are inevitable? Are they? I was thinking about how special this virus is. It's so special. It's got everybody that's a medical expert absolutely confounded. It's the most special virus. Why in the year 2020 has the human race been so blessed to receive the most complex and intricate virus ever known to mankind? The bubonic plague was nothing to this. That was easy to solve, but this is just the most perplexing. You know, we do its bidding. You know, the virus is so crafty, it changes to, now it's a masky kind of virus. Now it's an appy kind of virus. Now it's in Texas. Now it's in Florida. Now it's sailing over Bulgaria. You know, it's a magical virus. And yet we don't see any dead bodies in the street. No, we see dead bodies in care homes. I imagine we might see that maybe some old pensioner will die of a heat stroke today, who is thinking he's doing the right thing. Because I'm going to put my food on, and I'm going to come back and smoke a cigarette before my food is done, and then I'll wrap up. It's a shorter video today. God bless you. Hang on. I usually smoke one cigarette, and then I put the mushy peas on. 2 chicken scallops and mushy peas because I'm a growing boy. I'm a growing boy. I'm a growing boy. Wrapping my face up on a hot summer day. I like to breathe my own emissions. Isn't it funny? They've been banging on about carbon emissions forever, unless it comes from you individually, in and out of your mouth all the time. Those are good, but the ones that, I don't know, Greta Thunberg found out about, those are the bad ones. Aren't they? I did tell the guy, I usually smoke 1 cigarette, and then I have to stop for today because it's the Miltonic schedule. Time is of the essence. That's what I feel. Time is of the essence. I've got to get to, I'm not rushing through it. It's going to take however long it takes. And it will be October, November again. And I'm making it free to everybody because, I think there's a lot of stuff in my life that I regret. I've not been a perfect human, but I have been a human, And I do know the difference between humanity and inhumanity. I told the guy at the bank, because I did, he kept coming back out there with the paperwork. I was like, you understand, it's just like, I imagine different people are taking it different ways. And there's some things that I have I told him, I said, I think we're being lied to, and I know that has got to look weird in a public setting. But I said, I think we're being lied to. I didn't say about what, but I said, I think we're being lied to. And he goes, well, I know. And I said, I don't believe it's. I know it's not your fault. But I don't normally do this. And I told him when I left, I said, thanks again. And because it was actually quicker than I thought. Actually, they probably took it back there and said, write down the name, and I want I want the mother's name as well. I said, what is Missouri? Yes, I want it wiped out. I don't know. Who knows anymore? Who knows? Nose, mouth. That's not right. It's not right to put a real tight thing over your fucking nose and mouth. And this was the advice that everybody's wanting to hear. It's about time. You didn't want to hear it when the fucking virus started. Now when did you want to hear it? 48 hours ago when Boris Johnson wore it for the first time? When exactly did you want to hear that advice? Did you want to hear it in the 60s when nobody else was talking about it, when it wasn't hip? When everybody else was going to Woodstock and burning their draft cards, painting their bodies and dropping acid? Were you the one rebel thinker that was saying, "God, I wish everybody was wearing a mask"? Did you want to put a mask on Jimi Hendrix's guitar? I'm going to mask the whole. Who was that? They called him an artist. Well, it was kind of cool. He put drapes on stuff. What was that guy's name? Christo. Was it Christo? I want to put a big mask on the world. This is in support of the NHS. A big mask has been lowered on Big Ben today. Big mask to salute all the people who care about the human race. All those people who fought the people who didn't care about the human race, who wouldn't wear the mask. Today we toll a bell 500 times to kill some time. We're going to toll the bell 500 times in salute to the people who fought the people who didn't wear masks, fought them online, fought them with negative comments. On the way out the door, I said to the guy, I said, by the way, if you get a chance, check out this guy, Neil Postman, because he was writing in the late 90s, and he predicted a lot of what we're going through now. He goes, "Will do, sir." He didn't say it wasn't like that. I make it sound like it's 1950s Britain. It hasn't. It's this new thing that, yes, yeah, you're right, yeah, like that, I know. Now, hopefully I won't have to go to the bank for a few more months, hopefully, touch wood. I know we've all got I know people have jobs now, but it's another thing. This morning, they're saying that you don't need to wear a mask in the office. There is the question, are they idiots, or is it purposeful confusion? You don't need to wear a mask in an office, or if you're staff in a shop. But if you're a customer in a shop, you have to wear a mask, and you have to wear a mask when you're traveling on public transport. And we're believing you because you were friends with Ghislaine Maxwell? That's why we're believing? What is the reason why we're believing? And again, to go back to the specialness of this virus, and what makes it so special, the fact that the rules change from time to time. If that is true, and if this is a really brand new virus, the likes of which the world has never seen before, and is baffling scientists from day to day, which explains all these mad rules popping up left and right, what would be the one factor that would make this the different age that would make us the beneficiaries of such a virus, the recipients of such a virus? Technology. But you can't blame that for anything, because the BBC told us in the beginning that, and Michael Gove told us, and everybody in the world told us, and if you look on YouTube about 5G, there's all sorts of people that help you understand why 5G is safe. So, I'm not saying one or the other. I'm saying, but that was preemptively declared that technology can never be to blame for anything. So removing that, I guess we're just an unlucky species. I guess we're just the general, maybe God, but see, you don't believe in God. So I don't know. Maybe we just bad luck, right? 2020, the human race, bad luck. We got the crazy virus, the one that will be with us forever, like Big Brother, I guess. So I told him that. What was I going to conclude on? So comments, because I got to wrap up soon because the cigarette's almost done, and I got to put my mushy peas on. Thank you so much to the new patrons, and I don't know. I just felt like maybe these become more regular, because it is, again, just to reiterate, the 24th of July. I could read you something I wrote. No, I'm not going to do that yet. Basically, I said that is why on the 24th of July we refuse the mask. So I think my initial advice would be, if you know any people who work in shops who don't believe this shit and might be willing to turn a blind eye because they might think it's inhumane as well. I don't go out often to there's a shop. I won't even give the name of the shops because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But my girlfriend knows of 2 shops over on that side that the people running them think it's absolute bollocks, and they're really tired of customers coming in and going, "Ooh, I don't want to touch you." That they're really playing it up. I mean, my friends came down for my birthday. There was some guy standing across the road. He wasn't even in the queue. We didn't know there was a queue, but he was all the way across the street. And then when it came his turn, they kind of waved at him at the fish and chips, at the chippy, like, "You can walk all the way over and get your fish now." And he came up between me and my friends, and he did this little, like, parting the waves. And it's, get a grip, man, get a grip. Anyway, so I'll close with this. The comments. I haven't responded to the comments from I said I was going to respond to all of them, and this was the one from, what did I call it, to Texas, Serbia, and I'll get to that. It's back to Milton after lunch. But thank you. And some of your emails I have read, and I just haven't responded yet. I'll carve out a day to respond in correspondence, especially to the Patreon messages. But thank you again to the newest patrons. So I've got to get to work. But somebody did leave. I did respond to one comment yesterday, because I did the first scan last night. I took a break and I checked. Like, just curious. How is this mask one, this 2-hour thing doing? Where I just kind of rant and riff. And somebody left a comment. The guy had said, he said, anybody who is free thinking and intelligent would wear a mask. Everybody else is watching you rant on about bodily autonomy for 2 hours. To which I said, well, you must not be free thinking or intelligent because you watched me. I get the image of somebody who's so computerized. We're all computerized to some extent. We're all doing things that we wouldn't have done in saner times. It's shiny. Give it. I want the machine. I want the machine. So, yeah, I don't want a person. Show me the machine. Oh, wow. I did my whole mortgage. Oh, I didn't press the mortgage button? What button was that? Get rid of all my money? I used to have this joke. A man has lost all his money after mistaking an ATM for a video game. He thought he was winning. So, I thought the more you press it, the more you win. We're better than this, folks. We're better than this because we're not eugenicists. We believe that you can learn or unlearn things. You can learn good things and you can unlearn bad things. Turbo Man. Still got the turbo on. I've seen people drive with masks on a hot summer day. I've seen people on bicycles with masks on. You know we're killing ourselves. You know this, right? And you're smoking. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. I have a better shot of living through this smoking cigarettes than I think that they do going around on a hot summer day with a mask. Especially those nice compressing GIMP ones. Now, they compress your face. Why don't you just wear tights over your head? If you do that, just wear tights over your head. If you really want that full effect, or is that not because you can breathe through them, I guess, right? Get some thick tights, put them over. I mean, put a bin over your head. Go into a shop and knock over a bunch of merchandise, and then when they yell at you, say like, "I'm sorry, I didn't have a mask. It was too late. I was trying to be in compliance with the government, science, technological, and celebrity hashtags." So I took an old rubbish bin and I put it on my head, and I'm like a bad helmet, the knight in the Holy Grail, I'm knocking shit over left and right, and I can't be held accountable for that because I am clonk in compliance. So I thought of this guy who would leave a comment like that. I said, we're all computerized to some extent, but they haven't gotten to our actual physical bodies yet, and our mental freedoms well, they have in some ways, but some people more than others. And I can imagine this guy, like the Comedy Unleashed people with their fake profiles, like trying to attack me from a fake profile, and they get everything wrong. And so anybody would say like, this will show him. He thinks he is so smart. I will respond with a comment. I'll do it full Stephen Hawking. Where's my glasses? I'll give you a full Stephen Hawking and we'll close that for today. Comedy. I thought that in the shop as I was so freaked out. I was like, I can't take this machine. I can't take the mask. I can't. And I'm in the shop, and I know that the mental health people are probably out there going, this person needs to catch a bad thought and bin it. The NHS mental health awareness. When a bad thought enters, catch it and bin it. The stupid little slogans. I had a bad thought about machines. I guess I need to catch that thought and bin it. Right? And I thought of this guy let me put the P's on. Hold on a second. Put your P's on, baby, and strut your stuff. Look at her walking around in her high heel P's. I thought I was in the shop and I said, you know what? I think sometimes comedy will at least save me. As long as I can look at this shit with the funny. It's sad that you have to write comedy about this stuff, but it's like it's either that or go, come on. So I can imagine more bits flowing out of this somehow. This nonsense, this lie, this cruelty, and so I just thought of this guy, this full Stephen Hawking, right? So, he thinks he is so smart and clever. I will show him. I will first dislike his video. Dislike, so you got the thumb down. Then I will tell him the following. I think that most free thinking and intelligent people would wear a mask. But I think everybody else is watching you rant on about face mask and bodily autonomy for 2 hours. Ha 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 ha. And you want to say, see, this is what I was saying about computers not always being correct. Sometimes you do need a human to point out the fact that you obviously fucking watched me, didn't you? Free thinking and intelligent people and just good people around the world, we will live on and we will fight, God willing. God bless you all. Good night, or good day, good morning, and good night. And be watching, as ever, for the Milton Project. And thank you once more to Sarah and Will, our patrons. Good night.